Hi guys, how you all doing? Welcome to the Newcastle United training ground. Matchday -1 ahead of Newcastle's trip to Aston Villa tomorrow. The two form teams in the country. Newcastle absolutely flying, 5 wins in a row. Villa 4 wins in a row. They've only lost once at home all season. Something has to give at Villa Park tomorrow, so it should be a cracker of a game. Jason Tyndall was up again this morning, standing in for Eddie Howe. There's no update on the Newcastle manager, the club and Tyndall wanting to keep things private, but you know the feeling is that he's on the mend, and the hope is that he will get back to work sooner rather than later. So no official update from the club, but let's see what the next week brings. It feels very much like they need to get the Aston Villa match out the way, because it's been that really tight schedule, 3 games in a week. They probably want to concentrate on that, get that out the way, and there might be some sort of update, I would feel, into next week with the Ipswich game to come at home on a week on Saturday. So nothing in terms of that, but look, it's a huge game for Newcastle. Weirdly, I actually think not as big a game as the Crystal Palace in midweek. I think, and I was saying this to a number of people before the game, any Newcastle fan I spoke to in the build up to that game was saying this is going to be a banana skin, it's going to be really difficult. I'd take a 2-1, I'd take a scrappy 1-0. In the end up, you absolutely annihilated them by 5-0 in one of the best performances of the season. But I think there was quite a lot of pressure on that game, actually, because I think if you'd lost against Crystal Palace on Wednesday, that would have heaped the pressure on this Aston Villa game tomorrow. But now you go down there, I'm not saying it's a free hit, but you know, a draw would be a great result. And while you're not going to go down there trying to draw, if you come back with a draw, it keeps you 5 points above Villa. You're in such a strong position. Whereas if you'd lost against Crystal Palace in midweek and Villa won, they would have been above you on the table come the end of the weekend. And I just think it's taken a lot of the pressure off this match tomorrow, the trip to Villa Park. I think you can go down there, well, you're going to go down there full of confidence, aren't you? It's coursing through the players' veins. It's really helped the fact that, you know, Tyndall and Eddie Howe before him have been able to pick the same starting 11 in the last 6 games running, including the cup final, so there's real consistency there. I think there's an understanding from the substitutes, the likes of Anthony Gordon, who'll feel like he should be playing, but I think there's an understanding from him that these guys who are in the team just now deserve to be, and Barnes is scoring for fun, playing brilliant, so too is Murphy, and you know, they've hit form at a really, really crucial stage of the season. So yeah, I just feel this pressure off this, and I would not bet against Newcastle winning on Saturday. I just feel the form that you're in right now, you go down there, and I think Villa have taken a big hit during the week. You know, I know they played well against PSG, they essentially won the game, but they will be absolutely kicking themselves that they let in those 2 early goals, and I think it'll be a real emotional not so much an emotional night for them, but I think the defeat to PSG will have taken a lot out of them emotionally, and I think it might be quite hard for them to get fully up for this one on Saturday, even though they know they need to win the game. But there's more pressure on them, huge amount of pressure on them to win this game, whereas you can just go down there, you know, try and pick them off in the break. You know, you've got the pace going forward, you've got the confidence. You know now that if Jacob Murphy gets a chance, or Tonali gets a chance, or Isak gets a chance, well, they're going to take it. I'll maybe not count Isak after a couple of misses the other night, but look, you've got players. What I'm trying to say is you've got players that can hurt Aston Villa right now, and they're playing with their tails up, and confidence is such a huge thing in football. So looking forward to it. It will be the game of the weekend. Villa, of course, have won 4 in a row, Newcastle 5 in a row. Villa have lost only once at home all season. The game of the weekend. But I wanted to come on today and talk about Sandro Tonali, because what a player that guy is, by the way. He just gets better and better and better. He was incredible again on Wednesday night against Palace. His range of passing, his control of the game, he looks like a player. I've never seen a holding midfield player break the lines and get forward and shoot as many times as what he does. It's incredible. That little run against Manchester United in injury time, when he sprinted right up to the corner flag, and I think he outpaced maybe 3 Man United players with the ball, was incredible. And it just, I mean, his energy levels, his physicality, I think even just looking at him now, and he never comes off. You know, in the early days of the season, when he first came back, he was always playing an hour or 70 minutes. And even when he first signed for those first sort of 10 games before his ban, he was always coming off. Whereas you look at the last number of games he's played, he starts and finishes every game. And, you know, you see Bruno coming off and Joe Linton coming off. and other players coming off, Trippier coming off, defenders coming off, and Tonali just feels like or looks like the mainstay in the team at the moment. And you know, I was chatting to a few of the lads in the press room about it afterwards on Wednesday after the Crystal Palace game. I don't know if there's a better midfielder in the country than him in the Premier League. I really don't. I mean, I think Rodri, when fit, is the best defensive midfielder. I think he's probably a better holding midfielder than Tonali just. But I think Tonali does more going forward. I mean, Rodri scores goals, don't get me wrong, he's got a great shot on him. But Tonali, he's a different sort of player. He covers every blade of grass, he gets up and down the pitch. He's a number 6, but he also is a number 8 and he's a number 10. He does everything. He's a one-man band in there, and you know, to have him with the two Brazilians either side, it's some midfield. And you know, I think for a while everyone thought Bruno was Newcastle's best midfielder, but I think Sandro is probably eclipsing him right now in terms of his control of a game. There's no emotion in it from him. He's clinical. He's got a terrific shot. He's got a better shot than Bruno. He's got a better range of passing. I think Bruno's probably just about better in close areas with the ball at his feet. You know, from his time doing the futsal and whatnot, and the way he manipulates the ball. But Tonali's range of passing, his control, his game intelligence, I think it picks him out as. I mean, it feels to me he's the best of those three at the moment. Not that they're competing with each other; they're all very different. But he's the linchpin. I think he's arguably the best midfielder in the Premier League, and I'm trying to think of players who could compare him to. And someone mentioned Szoboszlai. I think Szoboszlai's a different sort of player. He's a 10. I don't think he controls a game like what Tonali does. I think Tonali showed in the cup final who's the better player of those two. The other one that springs to mind is Declan Rice. I really rate Declan Rice. I think Newcastle would take him here in a heartbeat if they could have got him. His 2 free kicks against Real Madrid the other night, last week, were sublime. He's a different sort of player to Tonali. He's a bit of a runner, isn't he? He's a worker, whereas Tonali is I said this in a recent video, he's like a Rolls Royce, isn't he? He's just an unbelievably, he's just so pleasing on the eye. He's got everything. I just think if I was to have a team, I would rather Tonali than Rice in my midfield, and that's the only way I can explain it. The only one I would be unsure about would be Rodri, because I just think Rodri is world class. I mean, he's a Ballon d'Or winner, but other than that, I can't see a better midfielder in the Premier League. I mean, Caicedo's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he's inconsistent. He is good. I think Tonali's a better player. And you look at Tonali's value, obviously 55 million was a lot of money at the time. Eddie Howe thought they'd got a snip. You can see now exactly why. Obviously the ban thing played into that and muddied the waters, whatnot, but you look at it now, and if any team was to come in for Sandro Tonali and it was decided that he was going to leave, God, I don't know what you'd be looking at. I mean, double that, 110 at least, 120. I mean, we talk about the price tag on Isak's head because you can't get too many strikers that can do what he can do. You can't get too many midfielders that can do what Sandro Tonali can do. I mean, to be a box-to-box number 8 who holds and controls the midfield, scores goals, they're very, very rare to find. And what I like about him is he's really become a Premier League player quickly. Like Jason Tyndall said something really interesting in there just now and said, look, we really had to work on him because AC Milan play completely different to what Newcastle do, a completely different style. They're a bit more passive, whereas Newcastle are high press in your face, and he's transitioned really, really quickly with 10 months out. Perhaps that 10 months in the training pitch has helped him, but look, what a player, what a guy, lovely, really down to earth, nice guy. And I think you go into games with him in your midfield right now and you just see yourself winning games. He is playing at the peak of his powers. And as I said earlier, feel free to let me know who you think is better than him, but I'm struggling. I think Rice is close. I think Rodri's probably a better holding midfielder, but I think Tonali offers more. Someone mentioned Szoboszlai, not having it. I would take him over any of the Liverpool 3. I mean, Gravenberch's had a good season and so's McAllister, but Tonali's a better player than both of those guys. And yeah, it's difficult. So Newcastle have picked up an absolute gem there in Sandro Tonali, and it's really great to see him flourishing. So I thought I'd just give you that little bit of chat today, and there's not much to talk about elsewhere in terms of the Villa game tomorrow, other than it's another biggie for Newcastle, looking for 6 wins on the trot, and yeah, I just would not bet against you going down there and getting a result tomorrow. So looking forward to it. Leave your comments below, guys. Subscribe please if you haven't done already, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers now.